Okay, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? I'm caught a little bit unprepared here. Before I accidentally hit a button, make this all go sideways. Let me get myself better situated. All right, hold on. This bed that I'm sitting on just makes me slide. All right, gonna make sure all my sound is up. All right. So, it has been a while. Hi, Paula Faust. How are you? All right. Well, I'm just hopping on here. Let me just I have to kind of look at this other page, oh, you know, running. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. That should work. That should work. I'm glad. I'm glad. Tweak. Make sure that it's up. That way I'm not having to shout so much because my throat is a bit sore today. Thank you. And I was going to call it off, but I thought, I want to talk to you guys. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're doing well. I am. Isn't it crazy? Everything going on here recently. Let me grab my cards. I knew he would hey, MGH channel, how are you? Thanks for popping on with me. I appreciate it. I had a feeling he would do this, and now we have quite a mess. Thank you, Paula. I'm going to work on it. I forgot to gargle earlier when I brushed my teeth. It's just, I don't know what I did because I've been eating fruit and stuff like that. So I should be chock high full of vitamin C, but something really irritated. And it could be from I don't know, at night grinding my teeth and stuff. Oh, you have a migraine. I'm so sorry, Isadora. Oh, well, you just do the best you can. And if you have to pop off, totally understand. Totally understand. I love black cats and have five, and they love me. Oh, I love cats. I love animals, all kinds of animals, period. But I have to say, black cats definitely have, a special place in my heart. And a subscriber was asking where Bear has been. And Bear doesn't really like my airbed very much. She'll come up with me and she'll lay in my arms and stuff, but it's on her schedule. So, when I'm in my wheelchair, I can get around and get to her and we snuggle and I comb her out. She just was up here the other day and I gave her a nice brushing. And that's the one thing with the black cats, they have a lot of dander that shows up. So a lot more work. And Paula says, I love cats. I have a gray furry cat. She is a sweetie. Oh, I bet. They're just so funny. They're such funny creatures. My mom's getting another cat. Let's see. Oh, tomorrow. No, it was today. So I have to check my phone and see if she sent me any photos because I was kind of I was kind of laying in this morning because I didn't feel very good. So I didn't check. But she's getting a male cat and he's really cute. And I will post a picture in the comments section of him. His name is Jojo and he's gorgeous green eyes and he's got the kind of a tigey stripey, but it's black, tabbies. Yeah, maybe that's why I have a sore throat. Yes, definitely. And the sides of my tongue are kind of irritated. It happens every now and again. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and push through and you know, have the live. So, I'm going to be looking at this thing with Iran and this war. I don't get very good feelings. Of course, unfortunately, we've already had a loss of military, our military. I think it's like between 3 and 5 right now at this point, and there's injuries and so on from Iran attacking back. So I just want to see if this is my worry is it's going to become a quagmire and where we lose anyone. Number one, this is such a truly a war of choice, in my opinion, has been said, and I just want to see how this is going to play out. If it's going to be a quagmire for us, because it's just disgusting that we're having this anyway, just to deflect from his guilt in those files, the Epstein files. So I've got my deck. I have to find some of my other decks. They've been put away. And right now, this is the one I have primarily close to at hand, which is the deck that I usually go back to no matter what specific, no matter what oracle deck or specific deck I'm using. I usually end up going back to this typical Rider Waite deck. All right. So let's just take a look. I want to ask my higher self and the Holy Spirit, the greater spirit of truth, what is likely now to happen for America? Is this going to be a quagmire where we lose a lot of lives and becomes a problem? I just want to see. All right. Let's take a look and see if that is going to be the case. I'm kind of looking for cards that show a more lengthy time there. All right, let's see what we get. Yeah, we do have a card of a more lengthy period with the Knight of Pentacles and Judgment. So holding people to account for actions, this is getting also a much bigger picture. There's going to be definitely more going on and wanting to hold, I believe, Trump to account. Did he really think that they wouldn't retaliate? Exactly. Because there's a mix of people there. Not everyone is going to celebrate in the streets. And, there's some people that just don't want America involved in getting into their business. And we all know that his interest is self-based. So we're getting Judgment and the Knight of Pentacles, the Four of Cups. I don't like that. And the Knight of Swords. This is this making haste, moving very quickly, but being disconnected. This it's the fact that he doesn't have a plan. That is really a concern here, and especially with the cards where you get that disconnection to sudden activity. There's not. If you're going to do something like that, you need to be connected. You know what I'm saying? You need to be aware of and thoughtful to what you're doing. And it doesn't show that here at all. And this is going to be a problem. Problems that people didn't think of. They initially look right here at the Three of Cups and they don't think about or even realize this other cup that is around them, this other aspect. And so there's a distraction. And this is a distraction from the Epstein files, which I will still cover. And so with Judgment and the Knight of Pentacles, it makes me feel like, yeah, this is going to be slower to wrap up than expected. And this lack of connection is just sloppy, feels sloppy in here. All right. Oh, great. We have the the 10 of Wands and the 8 of Swords. So this is being kind of stuck. Yeah, it looks very quagmiry with these two cards. Very stressed. Well, it's only the 10 of Wands, so that's like complete stress. And taking on more than you can chew, so to speak, as well as feeling stuck. And this is a lack of forethought. This is a lack of out of the box thinking. So this looks messy, and that it doesn't end in the snap, that there's other issues, possibly even people being taken hostage with that 8 of Swords. Look at that again. That's often the card kidnapping or being held, uh, imprisoned, that kind of thing, as well as a lack of well thought out, um, you know, plan or direction. So there's a great deal of stress. It looks like it's a hot potato. We do get Temperance though, and the Page of Cups. And where children are, I think, concerned, especially with this war, it's like an afterthought, and there's an extreme, and there's a childish expectation as well. I think with term thinking, I'm just going to do this and give them their country and walk away, and dusting off his hands. It's not quite that simple. And there could be issues, the school children that were killed. There could be more civilian deaths, I'm sure. Because who is usually in the crossfire? Older people, younger people, people that have nothing to do with this. And Temperance comes in to say this is going to take time. Temperance is warning that things are really extreme and will need to be settled down, so to speak. There's going to be a mixture of elements, and that takes time for things to cool down, for it to simmer down. So he's really stoked a flame here. And for right now, everything seems somewhat okay, but I think, could go sideways here and is apt to go sideways very quickly. A few more cards with that. Then we get the card of pulling back with the retreat, 4 of Swords, and the Knight of Cups, looking at offering how to pull back, how to retreat from action. This can also denote a lot of injuries, and hearing about needing to pull back so that people can heal. There's something coming forward as well. It could be also an event that's going to require more people that will be injured with that. Yeah. I just don't think an accord is going to be struck so quickly, because we get the Ace of Cups and the Hanged Man, martyrdom, and also things not falling into place as one anticipated. Something new to fall in place is delayed. So I think this opening up of emotion is still, this new time for them for Iran is still, it's not flowing. Something new that's opening up is still backed up, or there's tension that is preventing it from having harmony. And he's just made a mess that he doesn't know how to clean up, as usual. Oh, yeah. And we get the wish card with the nine of cups and death. So I I I think the activities and unfortunately Des that are going to occur there are going to take away our attention, which is what Trump wants. And it creates a huge shift over in the Middle East that can be very destabilizing. We've already got various nations, tapping other ones. The thing is, I don't think it's something that Trump's released from a box that he can't and has no idea how to control. That much is obvious. He's still going to be in the spotlight. And this does not, this will just culminate more problems for Trump. Sorry about that. My leg always hits the table. I'm going to move it a little bit. Um, Here we have like infamy, being in the spotlight, but not in a good way. It's causing suffering and separation and heartbreak and betrayal because he can't do anything without there an element of betrayal or screwing someone over. Um, Here he is with the Emperor and the Ace of Swords. I also think this is talking about trying to push the regime change there uh, with their leadership. This is a culling of the leadership. And also, as people said, it's just outright assassination. Now, some people might be glad because the guy wasn't a good guy and all, but it's going to create suffering in other ways here that I don't think people are counting on right now. Um, it also, I think, bears this effect back upon Trump. I think people that were with him, there's a severance that's probably coming within his own support. This is being stuck in hell, basically. Innocent people, I think, too. Their homes, their community, and they have an ogre. This is oppression. This is not, freedom. This is somebody still, being corrupt and abusing their power. Hi, Gina's Place. So I think what he doesn't anticipate is that the files as well are still going to, carry on. We're still going to be looking at them. It's not going to stop that very quick, very much. It's still going to be part of the news. We have instability here and trying to reach agreement or peace or accord. I think this is also shaky support. Once again, just what I was saying, I think people are going to start to see, as far as Trump's concerned, that didn't before, his overreach. I mean, I don't know how they didn't catch it before, but this is going to be even more unpopular within MAGA. I'm feeling okay. I did take a pain reliever, so it'll help. Still got a sore throat. I just turned up the gain on my battery, so not my battery, my microphone. All right, so that looks like yes, Iran that is going to be a quagmire in all likelihood because he doesn't have a plan, and that's going to be a problem. All right. Are we going to have, it kind of showed up already, the death card. where I believe it also stands for death. Um, Loss. What are American losses going to be like with this war now that Trump has started with Iran joining up with Israel and attacking? Darn, I'm still smacking that. There we go. All right. That might wobble just for a moment. Sorry. Thank you, Paula. So let's see. Is America going to sustain a lot of loss from this? Our military personnel. I also want to look at potential attacks on our own soil, and I will do that after this because that's concerned me for some time. Actually, in my journal, I wrote about seeing stuff, and that it could be part of this. I don't know, but we'll check. I am getting that's interesting. The King and Queen of Swords, military. I do think yes. I think we have men and women in that role showing up, and this to me is a yes because it shows them that kind of personnel. Um, and it would be to me as well people that are more specialized, higher uh following out in plans and stuff, officers and stuff in rank. Okay. It's just a feeling. There's going to be clarity as well with this about losses. There is an extreme that will have to be tempered, and this is to have a sense of winning. Okay. Aren't you sick of winning? Well, this is going to take time to overcome, to get a handle on. And this will be challenging. This, again, card doesn't pop up because things are smooth and fine. It's showing there will be an extreme that will take time to get to calm down, to bring to a still. So I think we'll quote win, but it's going to cost us. And I think it's very small what they gain. It's really a deflection for Trump more than some gain for America. That's just nonsense. Yeah, look at that Ace of Cups. A lot of emotion also about the people that we lose. And whether they're civilian innocents or our military, there's too many people and a lot of emotion around those that are lost because of this. Mothers with the Empress wives, and we get the two of swords coming to make a choice or a decision. There's a standstill, feeling perhaps like to some degree helpless, and certainly mothers of service people do feel that way. So we're getting that energy. And I often got that when I looked at Russia with Ukraine invasion. The mothers was one of the first cards that came out. And that's what we have going on now. Lots of mothers in Russia saying, my son is dying for no reason. And they are the bravest of the brave over there. Okay. So, yeah, I think despite what they intend, that we're not going to have that many. I mean, Trump did say there would be losses, but I think there's going to be more losses, or maybe it's the type of losses. I'm not sure, but I do get with the Death card and the Ace of Cups, very uh, big opening up of emotions around loss. So let's just keep an eye on it and lift up prayer and hope that maybe we can somewhat mitigate that. That's, I think, the best we can do with regard to this situation. Now, let's see here. Will this hasten Trump being removed from power or losing power? Because there's a lot of Congress that are very upset about this because there was no vote, and they're in action now to get something rolling on those lines. As usual, after he's taken action that he shouldn't have. Okay, so let's see. Will this hasten Trump's loss of power at the end of the day? This going into, well, attacking Iran, their leadership. And not just their leadership. I'm sorry, they did hit a school. If they're not meaning to hit those places, Israel and the US, who's ever doing this, needs to make sure they don't. But, and I'm going to look at Israel as well. Okay, so let's see. Will this hasten Trump's loss of power and time in office? Yeah, what happened to America First? That's just it. The America First people really don't like this. And if I was one of them, I wouldn't either. Um, I can see why. The Seven of Pentacles and the Moon. Yeah, there's this. It's going to show that he's covering up. It was that this is definite cover up behavior. It's part of his intention to deflect. It's part of his plan. That is the plan, to deflect from the Epstein, is to create this moon confusion, hidden cover up, sneaky energy. And I think more people are going to see that than had in the past. They're going to realize that he's not being honest and upfront, that it's not clear, that he doesn't have a plan, and it doesn't sit well with people to go in there and do that without consulting Congress. And here's justice, okay, coming for him. This is Congress, and oh, that's only Trump right there. So he's going to face legal consequences for doing this. Definitely. And the things that he was trying to cover up here, I think, only get more of a scope. That's the energy I get from this. And the law, thank goodness, is resisting his activities of just, to heck with everyone. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm dictator Donnie. And the Nine of Pentacles and we come to a crossroads where the rubber's meeting the road of him acting independently, like he is emperor to me. This definitely is going to affect and put him and his popularity at a crossroads where people are going to choose to either continue and double down with him, or they drop him like a hot potato. It's kind of come to a point with the people that seeing him as also part of the wealthy, that he's serving elites, as they like to call them, definitely is the flavor coming from the cards. And yeah, that's going to cause a diminishment here, and especially as justice is looking at his activities. I think it's going to really get under more people's skin than in the past. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. We have the tower. This is Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall. And this is the cruelty. And this is just doing things as a bully. And, I think people are fed up with it. So a dose of reality hits home to a lot of these America First people that, what? He's not doing that. It's not just a one off. This is a big deal. And there's going to be more things that people don't like about what happens in the near future going on with Iran. Okay. So, yes, it will definitely cause a diminishment. And I think certain events will really cause a blow up in the face, just as I was saying. Blowing up in his stupid face. Yes, look at that. Now we have like civil wars and I just feel like it breaks out into other little wars and it just feels like a mess. Okay. And also confliction at home where supporting him and this is concerned. He gets the tower. This is innocence and children, the past with the Six of Cups and secrets. To me, Epstein. This is minors and the past, Epstein files, secrets. What is he trying to keep? These are the files that have been secreted away from our eyes. We get the Hierophant, uh, and only the Cardopedia files, if you know what I mean, as well. I think further being discovered, found in these files, more information. And it's really going to be interesting because we've got a card of wisdom that is not typical. It's off that comes from being off, going off the beaten track. And then we have your very typical uh, method, black and white, kind of very structured, traditional, old school. So it's not going to stop the information from coming out. It's still going to make its way and be judged, frankly. So, what was this point? He's stirred up a hornet's nest in the Middle East, and he definitely will cost him. All right, let's take a look at will America be attacked as a result of this? I just want to make sure that we don't get targeted because of his actions here. Because I think things could definitely play out as a result of this that could cause us to be attacked because he's created instability in doing this. And there could be some players over in the Middle East that would like to try and retaliate. So let's take a look and see. Will there be retaliation on American soil from the Middle East war that Trump has whipped up? And I should say wars, really. Will America face any kind of retaliatory attack upon in American soil? Is that likely? Interesting. I get the Six of Swords. This is often to do with places, overseas, elsewhere. And we get the creation of also people leaving some of these countries that are where there's chaos and fighting. See the woman and the child in the boat trying to move and leave the chaos behind and go somewhere else. It's going to create a situation where people are fleeing. I get that. Oh, and death. Ish. Yeah. So more death than I think we're counting on at this present time occurring. What else am I getting from that? Let me just look at that. I'm going to pull a couple other cards with it. There is a male card and there is like family with the 10 of cups. I don't know if this is targeting family. I hope not. I do think this could be somebody trying to come over and do something. I do feel like we could be targeted. That's not surprising, really. Yeah, with the 6 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles, there could be a plan that someone wants to, I think, definitely strike back and have that notoriety for doing so. So we should be very careful. Not not saying, I don't want anyone to live in fear because there's no point in that. Um, and yeah, there could be suffering, innocence, and due to the past, and maybe specifically the fact that children, maybe the school children, there's the element of the issue of the innocent uh, suffering. So I do think that there's somebody that will look to try and bring that to our soil. Unfortunately, these cards don't make me feel like, yeah, not really. No, yeah. It looks like someone's potentially going to be thinking of doing that. That the first 2 cards, you know, don't feel so great. Yes, I get a few men and very emotionally, one of them here invested in this. It's affected him, I think, in his emotional feelings. And the strength card is, I think, wanting to curb the American power or wanting to control, bring it under control or to slow it down or to, smack the nose a bit, slow it down. So yeah, I think there's a bit of a tit for tat we need to be aware of. And it makes sense. And I do see men involved with that, a couple of men that might be the type to head that. And we might find out names at some point in the future. Yes. With the 5 of Wands and the Page of Swords, there's a hypervigilance for attack, assault, even if it's a smaller uh, in scale. It still looks like there are going to be people that feel combative about this and want confrontation of some kind and look to bring it on our shore. So, all kinds of crazies out there. That's going to be fun. Again, I think we can affect a lot of this honestly with prayer. It's said that we have maybe 10% of our full power when we're incarnate, that our higher self, there's still so much power. We're very powerful creatures. So I say, um, amazing the damage is done only in a year with Trump. Yes. I mean, he's just been like a tornado. But I think the thing is that I think he's quickening his own end. And it shows as much that he's going to start to lose a lot of power from this. He's already, and it's only ebbing away with things like this that he's doing. Let's take a look at the Epstein files and the ones that they're withholding from us. I want to see if that's going to get leaked, because I've gotten readings in the past, much further back, that there would be stuff leaked that was held back. So I just want to kind of, take a look at that, circle around on that. So let's just see here, clear the deck. He is in his ending time, though, just so you know. That may help you to get through each day, is knowing that Trump, is in his end period window. And just remember all that you've been hearing from not only myself, but other readers, that, he said his health would more rapidly decline in a way that we would actually be able to see it. That has transpired and is transpiring. That is also a big part of it, his own health giving out. But he's also the type of guy that could be sick for years, and I think live another 5 years, but as a very ill person. So let's just see. Circling back, are the one files that Trump really wanted to keep withheld, that the Department of Justice, quote unquote, oh, I'm sorry, the Department of War, has held back from everyone. Will those get leaked? Will at least some of those files get leaked that incriminate Trump? I just got a yes intuitively, but let's just take a look. Yes or no? I'm going to split the deck. Do it. Will those files be likely to be leaked? The ones that they have got locked away in Pam Bondi's underpants. I don't know. Because, people are claiming to find some of these stashes that Jeffrey had around different locations. He has stashes of files and pictures and video and stuff. And some of these have been found. And I think definitely more will be found. And God knows what's on them, let alone the ones they're withholding from us. But let's just see, will the ones they are withholding from us, will at least some of those, are they likely to be leaked? All right. I think I've given it a good shuffle. The past and the minors are highlighted with the Six of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. I think, yes. There might be a specialist, somebody that's good at hacking. I don't know. But I think someone could get those past files dealing with minors. We get the Five of Swords and the Hanged Man. This is what they were holding back. And this is the tactics, the cruel tactics that they've taken, and the bully tactics to hold back those files. That shows up. But I also feel like it's not going to prevent them from being leaked. You can say all the meanest stuff in the world and not offer them to us, but I see someone hacking and going ahead and being able to obtain some of those files just with the first two cards. That feels like hack work, somebody that knows what they're doing with that specialized kind of detail with the Eight of Pentacles. The Lovers, yep, and it's small group of people here in agreement could leak that. Even just a couple of people in a group of people. I pray that someone out there releases the whole enchilada. I think while we may not get every single one, I think a lot more is yet to come down the turnpike. I think there's more to come. And I think there are going to be people that become agreeable to leak the information from these cards of those that they really didn't want us to see. Yeah, the 10 of Cups, huh, and the 3 of Wands. And I think there could be a push from overseas, Europe, with regards to these files coming to light. I feel that other nations and their investigations could definitely loosen the hold where these files are concerned to somehow them being leaked out. Definitely could affect that. I'm seeing a man, a King of Pentacles, and I feel like he's the person that's responsible and taking action, making things go viral with that Knight of Wands. Yes, I do, because the 5 of Cups and Judgment, I don't think we would have a sad feeling of loss and greater awareness if we didn't receive that information in some way. I think we will get the greater picture. I think those files will create a greater awareness and they do get leaked. And there is a real sense of just depression, I think, and disgust, disappointment, just depressing, to be honest. It is very depressing to read about what people claim to have experienced, and I believe many of those claims are valid. We get the Emperor, let's see, and the 8 of Wands, activity around leadership heating up. And I think this is Trump also trying to respond because this is all he does. He's trying to back away from those files, trying to get us throwing roadblocks, wars in between us. And it's, not going to work. Yeah, these are the big risks, the friends, the people he was associated with, and children take, with the Fool. And I think people are going to leak it. I think it's going to show his risky behavior where minors are concerned, his own naivete, and that he was definitely a friend of Jeffrey's that took part in his shenanigans right there and his risky little games. Yes, the Tower and the 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, those files are going to come out, folks. At the end of the day, it's going to take time, but I think someone is going to definitely make the time to get that information out because the walls come tumbling down. And there's a lot of wealthy people involved, 10 of Pentacles. We have Gates, we have all of those. There's more. This has not begun to really catch fire. So that's my feeling. We have more interesting times ahead where these files are concerned, and especially the ones that are really not meant for us to see are going to come out. Yes. And once again, with a nod to overseas, the Three of Wands looking across the waters. I'm sorry, the Two of Wands, but looking at the globe, looking overseas. Maybe two nations in particularly may end up pushing that information out into the world. I see that like in the works. So I think other nations might have hackers that will get that information out there. I do. I don't think these files that Trump is doing everything he can to stop is going to stop them. We've gotten cards that indicate his world is going to continue to crumble and will accelerate at times with, you know, loss because of this. We are just at a moment right before I think a lot more scandal that comes out that's going to really shake the world. It's already shaking the world. We're having a war here for it. All right. I want to take a look at his girlfriend, Epstein's girlfriend, not Ghislaine, or Ghislaine, but I think was it Karina uh Shy something or another? Let me just grab that name again. She's the one that got the estate and stuff like that after Epstein died. She was willed his whatever money and such and so forth. And I think her name, let's see, Epstein girlfriend. She's the dental student, or not student, but dental, went to a dental school. Oh, and she's become a dentist, but she's not, I think, accredited, or there's something weird there. So, like, not a dentist you'd probably want to go see. Just saying. Um, yeah, Karina Shuliak, Belarus dentist, identified in 2026 as Epstein's last girlfriend and primary partner before his death in 2019, replacing Ghislaine Maxwell in the inner circle, heavily involved in his affairs, nicknamed the Inspector for her management of his schedule and contacts, uh, and was set to inherit a massive portion of his estate. She was introduced to him around 2010, 2012, when she was a young woman living in Belarus. Um, Intimate relationship, subservient, fraught with tension, and with Epstein sometimes complaining about not enough kisses and using a love-hate tone in emails. She was the last person to speak to Epstein by phone before his death in his Manhattan prison cell in 2019. She's got a 1953 trust, primary beneficiary, roughly of 100 million in assets, including 50 million in cash, 33 carat diamond ring, and various properties. She's slated to receive his Paris apartment, a New Mexico ranch, and Little James Island. Well, there's a Trump supporter that owns the New Mexico ranch, so I don't know what came of that, what happened with that. Okay, so let's take a look at her, because there's been, like, she's not been charged with any crimes, even though she's come under scrutiny for her close contact with him. Let's just see if she's going to, and let me see if I can find her birth date. Let's just see if she's going to ever be held to account. Let's see if I can get that. Okay, so she has a birthday. She's a Gemini. Ah, a Queen of Swords. And she's got a moon in Aries. All right. There we go. So she should be a Queen of Swords, possibly Wands. Let's just take a look. Karina Shiliak, Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend. How will things go for her? What do we need to know about? Will she face any justice? Primarily, that's what I want to know. Karina Sholiak, will she face justice? Karina Sholiak, will she face justice? Show us what we need to be aware of regarding her. All right, I think I'm going to put these in a Celtic cross style. Let me get a sip of my coffee because my throat is kind of scratchy. All right. She's got the card of dishonesty and theft covering her. The Seven of Swords, being sneaky, being on the down low. There's stuff that she should be held to account for sure. Um, there's definite sneakiness covering her and dishonesty and trying to keep from being held to account. That covers her. Trying to get away with it. She's crossed by the Hanged Man. So this shows me that her current situation, I think, is not trying to make waves and stay real on the down low and trying to get away with what she participated in. And for right now, things are kind of at a standstill. She's not being pursued. And there's been victims as well with that hangman that cross her. There's victims that could perhaps as well tell on her. And they might have something to tell that could incriminate her. And right now, she's just hoping nobody comes forward. That's kind of the energy, no matter what it was that she's done. For right now, she's in a holding pattern. Now, it's based on the Ace of Cups. To me, this is information flowing, coming out. And this is now, finally, after all these years, Jeffrey's gotten away with all of this, now is starting to flow like it didn't in the past. So I think this is to do with the opening up and unsealing of a lot of those files. There's also a lot more emotion that the public has about them and an investment of emotion and in concern to her. I think the Ace of Cups shows as well that she was the newer relationship that he had. There's a lot of feelings that she has and that people have about her. Crowned by the King of Wands. I think this is Jeffrey for her. And his desires, his sexual drive, and his whims, and what he wants to do, and all his little activities, and serving him. She is crowned by this King of Wands. It's possible she could have a new relationship right now too with a male. Could be that King of Wands. And wanting to keep all her life very quiet. In the recent past, we have the Page of Cups. I think this is being immature in the recent past. It also has to do with my opinion of the girls that were being in the past trafficked. And it's interesting that that card of immaturity, of, I think, victims falls next to that hangman. That's also a card of someone that's been victimized, is not moving forward. Not that she was, but I think she's definitely got a connection and she should face, the consequences of. Now, moving forward, we get the card of strength. This is enduring and also self regulation. I think she's definitely going to try to control the narrative, going to try to control what her part or role is in it. But I don't think she's going to be able to escape that she had a very intrinsic role in helping him to live the life he was living and get away with it. She's an active player and helping him to maintain control over victimized young girls. Okay. We get the Hierophant. I wonder, does she have a relationship currently with that's looking toward marriage? Um, that she's wanting to keep quiet? That could be a thing. But I think she also just wants to have a regular life. Well, too bad, you know? Yeah. And in her environment, there's a great deal of money that's left her independently well off and able to live a very luxe life. Her environment is one of luxury and comfort. She's living off of the crimes that he committed to earn that money and off the crimes committed, I think, of young girls. That's disgusting. People value that lifestyle over victimizing people. It's disgusting. And the hopes and fears is the 10 of wands. This is the fear of getting held to account and having to face uncomfortable accusations and questions and activity, having to do something you don't want to do. This is also something bigger than you that you can't get out of. So she definitely doesn't want this brought up, doesn't want her part brought up because it would be more than she could handle, uh, and not be able to save herself, quote unquote, from. She gets the card of the fool. So there could be something new that opens up at the end of the day. And she should not be so naive to think that she's just going to continue to prance around living the life she's living without them scrutinizing her role. I think that there's a new day that could open up of them scrutinizing her role. Yes, the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. Now we have a card of juggling. We have a card of trying to keep a balance and something being very fast moving and making quick haste. To me, I think her time of quiet is going to reach an end. I don't think it's always going to remain that way. And yes, she's going to want to walk away, move somewhere else, um, and look where she can go and not be held to account, disappear, um, with all of that money. I also tend to think information from other nations could come out that makes her really want to hide. It might reveal more of her role, or she fears that it will. I get the Lovers, yeah, and we get the Five of Wands. There is then confrontation about a relationship and agreement. Her bond with him. I think she's going to be confronted over it, for perhaps for the first time, is coming. Now, her wish or dream come true to have all of this stability, to have this money and control has been granted. I mean, she's got this. But I'm seeing others that get help, I think, in confronting her. And maybe they're going to sue her. I don't know. But I think there is people going to be looking into her to see if they can hold her to account, for sure. Looking at trying to, I feel like, get help to hold her to account, to win against her. Let's see here now, too. And she's wanting to keep out of the mess, but I don't see that happening. I see it coming to her doorstep. Again, I keep feeling like other nations, as they investigate, there's information that I don't think she's going to be able to walk free from. This is getting stuck. And I think this is dealing with trafficking as well, that she knew of these things and was perhaps enabling, this to happen to other young minors. So she like was in his enabler, and certainly had an effect, um, an overall recruitment, because whenever you got a female, whether it's Ghislaine, that was her role, was to kind of put the guard down where minors were concerned, because they would trust a female. And I do see her having a comeuppance. It's yet in the future. I don't see it happening in the near future, but it looks like something does come down the line here. And yes, the survivors should definitely, should definitely take a civil lawsuit action against her. I tend to think that they will. Let's just take a look and ask, will she have a civil lawsuit taken out against her? Karina Sholiak, will she be facing a civil lawsuit by Epstein survivors? Will she ever face legal consequences by Epstein survivors in some sort of civil lawsuit? I get the star. I think there's a possibility. Yes. And I think it could go in, it would definitely make the spotlight. We would all be very interested to see that. Oh, yeah, I think they could um, do that in defense, to come out against her and put her on the hot seat. Definitely. I think it's definitely a possibility with that hope. The death card, bringing her to an end, transformation, and oh yeah, the all that money and that independent, she doesn't have to work, basically. And there could be a change where also that money is concerned. Perhaps the money that she's helped herself to from the inheritance is going to end up looking to go to some of those survivors, maybe, or they're going to be looking to have some of that. Yes, again, Knight of Wands and 10 of Pentacles. We're talking about buku bucks, folks. This is a lot of money and activity around it. So, and a lot of people as well, and people that were connected and part of his crew. Some of these other women, I think, as well. I think they shouldn't sit too comfortably because I think they definitely could face in the future civil lawsuit. Yeah, once again, we've got the Hierophant and the Judgment card. This to me is like moral, what's right, basic rules. So that could definitely be civil. Somebody wanted to, they should. But she's just got so much money, I can see why they might be like, I can't afford to take her. But yes, Ace of Swords and the Queen of Swords, that's her. There's going to be something that comes out with regard to her. And it will be so clear. It very much where others are concerned, something's going to come forward and clarify her role. Wow, she's coming up in the reading. There's that Page of Cups again, and the Nine of Wands. To me, children. Now, he was doing weird things with genetics and having others, minors, have his children. There are passages that have been found in the Epstein files that detail that. So there's a reason that children and really small children also keep coming up with regard to readings on Epstein because he was trying to he thought that he had some great DNA to put out in the world to make better human beings. Yeah, he was out of his damn mind. So I think, yes, the survivors most likely will go for her. She shows up there and issues where children are concerned, maybe those that were forced to surrogate carry Epstein's babies and have them taken away from them. That's what was going on as well. Using these young girls like breeding stock. So it was a lot of weirdness, and she's connected. It sounds like Musk. Yes, it does. And that's probably why he was so keen to go to the island because he, was into all of that himself. But there's so much more yet, I think, that's going to come out that we have no knowledge of at this time. It's still going to be, that's going to be the real shock and awe, not this stuff going on with Iran. That is a side note. And unfortunately, that's how Trump operates. We all know that. So yes, I think that she could get pulled into this. Let's take a look and see if she ever goes to prison. Will she ever go to prison? Will Karina Shiliak ever face prison for her involvement with Epstein and helping and enabling him to break the law? Because she certainly did. All those people did that worked on his island. Whether they want to admit it or not, they might just want to say, "Oh, I just was the driver." That's what you tell yourself, I guess. But you knew when you had young girls in the back of those vehicles, when you saw them, they should have known something. They knew. They just looked the other way because it was employment. I think more of these people are going to come forward, more information out of all these different corners, people that work there in various capacities. Some of them, like I think Karina, have a bigger role, but I think they better be very careful if they think they're going to get side, they're going to, if they think they're going to get away with it, because it shows that she thinks she's going to get away with it. And at the end of the day, she gets the fool. I think she's foolish. But let's just see. Will she end up going to prison? Will she end up facing prison? Karina Sholiak. Definitely see the civil activities that could happen, but let's see a prison. Well, we do get the card of the hermit. So, uh, if that isn't, again, she definitely has the lying low and trying to hide. And it looks like it's 50-50. I think there's a 50-50 possibility. It's fluid with that Two of Pentacles. We get the Emperor. Now we're talking about leadership. And I think also Epstein, because he was her fiance, I think. Um, that energy is in there, that male energy. Yeah, and she's worried. There is, I think Trump and other people will be very worried. Probably some of the men that were involved as well. But I think she does have worry for authorities holding her to account and her activities where these men are concerned and these leaders. I'm getting the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Cups. Yes, I think it could come for her. Something new opening up uh, in connection to Epstein and her activities legally could put her, yeah, there she is, 10 of Cups. I mean, she's very, very content living her best life here. But that might change. That's an ending card. She's doing so from a dishonest way. And once again, trying to get away with it. There's going to be something that really comes in to change that with the Ace of Swords. And I think she shouldn't get too comfortable again. Three of Cups. And, she thinks she's too wealthy to touch. But I see a decline coming financially and health wise for her. So, though I don't see anything showing immediate prison, I am seeing some sort of a decline. And I feel like money could be given to people through a civil suit. I do. Right here. That could be her losing some of that estate or having to give that money through a civil suit, the beginning of where you make payments, that kind of thing, to people that were trafficked. That's a possibility. I'm not really getting cards of her being in prison, though. Maybe they just can't make it stick. Something definitely, though, with civil could happen. Okay, let's leave that there. So I don't think she ends up going to prison, to be honest. But I do think she gets made very uncomfortable, which would be good at the very least. And quite possibly, if people want to pursue her civilly, they could. That shows up, but it's still very fluid. So I'm not real confident on that part, unfortunately. But she doesn't want her name, being uh, fanned about. She doesn't want her identity being bantered around. And I think the best thing to do is to do exactly that and hold these people at least socially accountable and that we name them at the very least and say what they did. Because we can't, unfortunately, always depend upon our courts. We know that. Okay. Let me see. There's just so much that I could read on, even with like the children, what's happened to the children that he created with these girls and took from them. That's what I would also like to know. What has happened to them? Who's raising them? Um, let's just see if we can get any information on that. What has happened to the children that were Epstein was having with these girls? What has happened to the little children, the infants that Epstein has taken away from young girls for his genetic redistribution of human beings in the world that have his DNA? Another loon into the eugenics kind of crap. What happened to those children? What can we know about the children that Epstein had with underage girls? What happened to those kids? What happened to those infants? Because there were emails that would with some of these girls, and one of them was saying, about him using her basically as a baby machine and that she was exhausted from it. So let's just see. And about them taking the baby from her. Uh, well, we get the Two of Swords and the Five of Cups. There's a sense of loss here. And I'm sure for the girls, and there's like a block. Maybe they're not going to know, obviously, uh, who they are, in fact, that they were the product of this nut job. I don't think that they know that. I don't think that they're being told that and being honest. These children. There's the emperor. So we got the father energy here, and we've got some kind of activity. And I think this is making children. This is also him moving them around, doing something with them. Jeffrey himself, and perhaps those that have authority that helped him to do whatever he was getting away with this way, taking away these children. We get the Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. Some of these children may be discovered. I feel like the Knight of Cups right here and the Page of Pentacles, I think could be finding one of these children, that could be identified at some point in time coming forward as his child or offspring in the future. And I think for them, they kind of reach a dead end. It's kind of a sad thing for these children. Ten of Swords and the Temperance. They have to let go kind of the hard fact of how they came into the world, but that there will be, I think, healing for them potentially in time as pieces fall into place. I think we're going to find some of these children, and they will be coming into adult age at some point and wanting to know their background. Yeah. To me, this is like, who are my parents? There's a secretive aspects of partnerships and agreements and who the parents are and what was the agreement to adopt. The Queen of Swords. And this is the feeling of being kidnapped. Is this Karina participating in getting some of these children to people that can raise them or something? Um, where the parents are not going to say your father was Jeffrey Epstein. You know, I think it shows her activity behind some of this behavior where children are concerned. Yeah, I think that there's three in particular that in the future could meet each other and be kind of family to each other in a way, finding out about each other with the Three of Cups and the Ten of Cups. I feel sorry for these kids because their launching point, so to speak, that they're coming from is very dark. Hopefully, they can make themselves have a better life, you know, and despite everything. We get families here and we get the card of strength. We're getting, oh, I was just getting a hit from that. Control and the family control extending. I'm just vibing on that. The families that have adopted them. And this just, I think this information is going to come out and their families and having to come to terms with their origin, at least maybe three of them. Yes, working to, I think, bring something to completion, an understanding where they come from, and maybe that'll be enough. But I see that coming out in the future. Some of these children realizing, coming to understand that they've got him as a father biologically. All right. So now let's take a look at Trump here and what Americans now have been enduring for, you know, a long time. Is he, let's just ask the old question, is he going to have a full term, a full 4 years? Because he could, I suppose, but I didn't think so. I still think he could be like a year shy or half a year shy, maybe. Not quite the full enchilada. But let's take a look how things are looking. Is it likely that Trump will serve a full 4 years or no? Will it be shy of that? Will Trump's term end because of his corruption, perhaps, or and health prematurely or not? What is the likelihood at this point that Trump's presidency ends because prematurely because of health and corruption? What is the likelihood that he does not make a full 4 years? I think it's quite good. There's the Four of Swords. This is pulling back. Now, it could mean he makes the full 4 years, but this is a card of illness, and this is a card of not being out there. This is a card of not being active. All right. And we got the Page of Swords. I think, you know, we're already seeing the decline as far as health and mind, and we're being told to watch that space. So a lot's going to depend on that. That would make him step back or pull back from the complete 4 years. Here we have the Nine of Wands. He's definitely going to, I think, try to come as close as he can, but I think he's just squeaking by what he can. Yeah. I think the corruption could definitely bring him to an end more prematurely. He's going to be fighting that, and it's just going to be costing him so much, uh, I think, physically and mentally. and energetically that I see the decline. And I don't think that full 4 years is met. It might just be a whisker shy, but I just don't feel like it's going to be a full 4. If we get the completion card and the 5 of Pentacles, I think he'll have to end because of a decline of health. So I don't think that full 4 is made at this time. It really shows decline. So it could be that in going into that 4th year, it's too much. It's clearly too much and it ends. And there's a time window that ends for that corruption to end too. When we look at these cards together, so his decline through his corruption hastens his ending, hastens his health. And he is pulled back in recuperation mode. He's not putting his crazy thoughts out there. People are like, where is he? I think more and more we're going to see less of him at times where he's got the health crisis going on. And it's going to become more toward the longer, obviously, we go on with him in office. And definitely, I think he could come close, but I think he ends prematurely because of corruption and health issues. Take him out. Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and Temperance, and the 7 of Pentacles. There's definitely us waiting for these timelines for him to change. And we're being cautioned. We have to be patient with Temperance, and that there are certain things that have to fall into place first before he can lose that power. So we have to bite our lip through all of this, as we have been, and just understand that there are certain things that have to occur in order for this ending to wrap up his ending, his end of days. Yes. We've got the 3 of Swords and the Justice. The last time he disappeared, he had a stroke. Exactly. And I think he's got more on board, which makes sense to come in the future. I think, this is definitely where we look at law regarding his mind and his physical health are concerned, along with the corruption. He's not going to get a break. I think this will finish him sooner than not, because there's just going to be such a collection of lawsuits and legal consequences that pile up in a variety of ways that he's broken the law. And it catches up. It catches up because you saw the state. Well, if you saw clips like me of the State of the Union where he's at the end of the message, when he's at the end of his discussion, you can see how he's slurring the words, etc. He's and just weird. They're giving him stuff to be able to sit up there for 2.5 hours. Definitely, definitely. Yes. He has the Moon and the Fool. So as far as his tenure is concerned, it is clouded. And the cover-ups that he's involved in are just huge risks that are going to blow up in his face. He's just not going to walk away from it. And like I said, other nations, I feel like, play a key role in the information that they share with the world and with what they find out in their investigations. And, you know, he's just not, I don't think, going to be in good shape. So he just doesn't have good cards. And he's going to be facing more and more issues. All right. There was another thing I wanted to look at, which was Pam Bondi, because she's had such involvement with the Epstein files and treating the victims disrespectfully and lying and hiding files. I want to see what's going to happen with her again. Now, you can look on my site. I don't do a lot of video after video. I try not to about reading about Pam Bondi again and again and again because there's just no point. At some point, I'm getting the same message over that she's definitely got something coming to her, a fall that is yet to come. But let's just see and check in. Is she going to be held to legal consequences, Pam Bondi, for her part in the Epstein files and in not releasing files and lying, etc., and hiding incriminating files about Trump? Is she going to be held to account? Pam Bondi. And then I'll wrap this up. But I really wanted to get this out there for you guys today. Yeah, I feel it. I do, Walter. I think that she's got her play to karma coming. Let's just see, though, if the cards pick up on it. Does she have legal consequences coming to her, Pam Bondi? All right, I think I've shuffled these well enough. Let's take a look. Well, we do get the card of pulling back with the Four of Swords. Huh. And then we get the Five of Swords, the Four and the Five. She's pulling back, but she's insulting us as she does. And this is her nonsense. These are her games. All right. So right now, and this is her trying to walk away from it. And walking away, I think hiding those files, Jimmy jacking around with the files and the law, and being negligent. Yes, we know all this. Well, we do have the Chariot and the Nine of Cups. That would be hopefully my wish come true of them pursuing her. Oh, you know, I see her secrets coming out in the future. So yeah, I think she gets exposed in a way that's going to be significant. That's upcoming with that Three of Wands. And yes, it could especially be drummed up because of other countries' investigations. And we do get, yeah, she's going to face, I feel like, for her support of Trump taking care of all this stuff, she does get backlash with the Five of Wands. I get a Queen of Wands and a Nine of Wands. That's her energy of taking a beating, so to speak, for Trump, lying for him, but also getting to a point where she can't do it anymore. Like that Nine of Wands is her last, her energy to deflect all of this. I think it becomes too big for her to deflect, um, and not be held to account herself for her own behavior. We have, again, the past, also the cards of minors or children, and the tower. So I think, yeah, there's the safety that she's known regarding the Epstein files comes apart and goes into upheaval. I think where there's a group of other people here, I think looking into her conduct with the minors, or not her contact, but the aspect of the minors and all of this, it just keeps coming out. So I just don't think that she's going to be able to keep this on the down low and not be dragged into consequences. Because the Knight of Pentacles and the Sun, her work all this time is revealed. She's exposed. And helping to try to these men to get away with it. King of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, the Lovers and the Ace of Swords. But there's a breaking point. There is there's definitely something that comes out, a dishonesty, the lies, and that are going to get her in trouble. Yeah, we get that with the cover up of the Moon and the Four of Pentacles, trying so he can keep control and try to keep the narrative under control. That comes out, her involvement in that. And this is highly transformative, what she's done, her efforts. I keep getting minors showing up here. There's going to be a change, though, within our nation. And this push with this Wheel of Fortune and the Four of Wands, where I just don't think she's not going to be allowed to just shrink off, and not be held to account. I want to see legal consequences, though. Are there legal consequences coming for Pam Bondi? Are there legal consequences? And I'll end it on that. With Pam Bondi, are there legal consequences for Pam Bondi coming? I just got the word disbarred. I think that's probably just my hopefulness, but Pam Bondi, will she be held to account legally at some point? I cannot stand her. I think so. Wheel of Fortune, what comes around goes around. It's the second time. She will. The Eight of Wands, activity, karma picking up and swiftly at some point. She's not expecting it. I think a lot of people, it'll be a dream come true. But for her, I think she doesn't see it coming because she's been very comfortable with her position all these years and not being held to account. And I see loss, Five of Cups for her, and the Hanged Man. It's not going away. And definitely looking at the survivors, the victims, and looking at this from another point of view. People are not going to stop looking at her. The Emperor and the Star. And to me, this is Trump. This is being in the spotlight. It's not going away. Judgment, no. And her part in helping him is definitely going to be held to account at some point with judgment in the Two of Cups because she helped him. Yeah, and there's the Two of Pentacles. This is her moving files and shifting things around and all of that to do with minors. Six of Cups and his activity with them in the past. And she does have worry. She's going to be worried that people are going to help give information that sews her up, makes her have to face account. Yeah, she's going to fight it too. But I think she's going to be up against a lot. Here she is, coming like a little rage queen with the Knight of Swords. And she is just is reactionary. Too quick. And we have Death and Temperance. It will end her. I don't think her life, but I think definitely her career, her life definitely goes through a massive transformation and ending. And her extremes are brought to balance. So she should watch out. There is definitely consequences coming for her. Yeah, she's going to want to walk away and hide. But I think people are going to look into this and into her conduct that has been illegal. She has decline coming, and she's not going to be able to avoid it. So she's going to be, she's got time while she's in power, and she's got definite time that she is out, and she will be brought, I think, then under scrutiny. Let me see something. I got this one deck. It's a yes, no. And the problem is I need to prime this deck more to use it to read on because there's many times you'll get like too many no's all together. It needs to be primed. It needs to be shuffled really thoroughly. Let's just see if I can use it yet, if it's ready. So yes, no. Does she likely face legal consequences? Pam Bondi. I just want to see what the deck answers. Let me try and really shuffle this up. They're kind of stiff. What do we need to know about her power, and her involvement in hiding Epstein files and lying? Will she be held to account? I definitely get yes, but I want to see just what cards come up, and I'll close it live. Okay. Yes, but accept reality. This outcome may end up being less fulfilling than you expected. That's possible. She may not face what we all think she should face. And there's significant obstacles in your path, meaning a positive outcome is maybe unlikely. Here's yes, your positive outcome will unfold gradually and naturally over time. So that makes more sense. It feels to me like she's probably not going to get what we think she should get. She might get some of it, but I think that there are obstacles around this that we are not aware of. So it may not be exactly how we would want, but in time, yes. And I get yes here, green light, this is the signal to move forward, what toward your desire. So I think not soon enough is for the rest of us, but eventually she does get held to task. But it's going to take time. Influence the outcome by focusing on a positive approach. So people demanding, people keeping the pressure on. And I think people will. So eventually, I think she will be somewhat held to account, but not soon enough and probably not to what we would like to see. All right. The name of that deck is I just set it down. Yes, no deck. And you know what? I will put this deck in the description box because I got it off of Etsy. So I just need to go back and look at my Etsy purchase and see what the name of the deck is. But it's like a yes no deck. But there's so many different yes no decks on Etsy, so I need to let you know which one it is. And I will do so because it's a neat deck, but you're gonna have to really what I call prime it, shuffle it, shuffle it, shuffle it, work with it a lot so that it's more broken up and you don't have so many yes and no's and maybes cards all together. Just like when you get a new tarot pack, you have to prime it by shuffling it a lot. Or else when you go to use it in a reading, you don't get as good a reading as you could, because the cards might be like this was. It's still almost there. You need to work with it more. All right, you guys. Thanks for, if you've lasted this long, God bless you. Thank you for putting up with me and listening, and I appreciate it. And if you would please help my channel, they keep cutting my subscriber numbers. I would appreciate it despite my efforts to give you guys videos and lives when I am physically up for it. Thank you so much, you guys. I will talk to you again soon, hopefully sooner rather than last time. It's been a while. So anyway, I'll try to make lives more often because I do enjoy them. I've just got to have the energy. Okay, you guys, thanks so much. Take care. And don't let all the negative news pull you down. Find the positives. Positive stuff is happening every day. And don't let the fear drain you. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Walter. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Isadora Smith. You're the best. Bye. Take care.